So good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming to this ribbon cutting, which is phase one of our Framingham Commuter Rail project. To bring greetings from the town, I'd like to present Chairwoman of the Framingham Board of Selectmen, Cheryl Tully-Stoll.
Thanks, Ed. I want to welcome everybody here on this glorious day. This is a great day for Framingham. This lot was built so quickly and has come together so well, and it was due to multiple partnerships with a lot of people working together. And it shows what we can do when we leave our fiefdoms, we sit down at a table, we work on a project, we can get it done. We can get it done efficiently, quickly, and then we can celebrate it while the weather's still nice. So I want to thank everybody involved and thank everybody here for coming. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. So last October we did the groundbreaking for this. So Cheryl's right. You know, we got this built pretty quickly, and it was a collaboration of four four organizations of the public sector: the MBTA, Keolis, the town of Framingham, and the MWRTA. And also, I would like to mention as well, the Metro West Center for Independent Living had a great deal to do with the success in building an accessible parking lot. We're very, very proud of that. So that being said, last October we broke ground for this, but almost a year before that, we had a visit from a newly minted Secretary of Transportation who was touring the state at the time and looking at some of the facilities and infrastructure. And when she came out to Framingham, she walked over here, she walked around the town, and she walked over here, and I think she heard the words that she used when she saw our station over here was that she was appalled. Is that the right word?
That was in fact what I
Okay.
said and thought.
Yeah, she was appalled. But having the courage to do something about it is a whole other thing than being appalled. And Secretary Pollock came up with, well, actually, she designated two of her chief staff members, Astrid Glynn, to come up with the funding, and Jody Ray to come up with the technical advice as to how we redo this whole thing. And if it weren't for her, this wouldn't have got done. So it is my honor and privilege to present Secretary Stephanie Pollock.
So thank you, Ed. And as I think everyone who's here today knows, Ed is actually the reason we're all here today, and we wouldn't be here without him. And I want to talk about that a little bit because, you know, a good collaboration requires a lot of pieces to come together at the right time, and this is a great collaboration. I originally, early in my tenure as secretary, I did come out to Framingham at the invitation of the town, as well as your wonderful legislative delegation, Representative Walsh, Senator Spilka. And at that time, some of you may recall, we were in the middle of rebuilding all the sidewalks and just down the street a little bit there. And so I got a bit of a walking tour, and I got to learn about the amazing work that Framingham was doing to sort of link its downtown to this commuter rail station, about how much the town saw this as an asset, about how committed the town was to transit-oriented development and using both the wonderful downtown and the commuter rail to leverage the construction of large numbers of housing units, which is something that we really need in Massachusetts, and in particularly in the eastern part of Massachusetts. We need reasonably priced housing that folks can hop on a transit system and then get to jobs throughout the greater Boston area. And it was clear to me that Framingham was going to be a really great partner for the Commonwealth because our interests were so aligned. It was also clear that Framingham understood how much transportation investment could make a difference, beginning with the road and sidewalk project, but extending. And so while I was here mostly to talk about that, and as I recall, to make sure we got it done and out of the way in time for the Christmas shopping season, which was the big issue that year, I did walk around this station with Ed, and we took the elevator, which did not smell very pretty, and looked at the graffiti, and I heard stories about crime that was going on. And you know what I said to Ed was, that is not something that we want. We don't want our properties that the MBTA owns, that MassDOT owns, to be seen as detriments to communities. We really want them to be seen as assets to communities. But I'm not sure what we can do about it, because we own dozens of these, and they're spread all over Massachusetts, and there's just not enough people to be out at the stations every day making sure that they're being properly cared for. And Ed said, well, what if we partnered? And that really was the beginning of the conversation that culminated in the memorandum and then in this work. And it's a win-win for everyone. It's a win for Framingham to have the lighting and the security cameras that have brought the crime down. It's a win for the people of the region who have twice as many parking spaces available to access the commuter rail system. It's a win for the T to have more people using our commuter rail system, more fares we're collecting, more parking revenue that we're collecting, even though we're splitting it. So it's exactly the kind of partnership that we want to be doing more of. I think it's a model, not just for Framingham, but for other communities. It shows what can be done when people are willing to roll up their sleeves, work together, think outside the box. And I will tell you that I've been at a lot of groundbreakings in the 30 months I've been secretary, and I have been at a lot of ribbon cuttings, and it is a rare thing that the ribbon cutting comes well less than a year after the groundbreaking. So Ed and his team at Metro West Regional Transit Authority have done a superb job of taking the partnership that we laid out and really turning it into real improvements on the ground that our riders are benefiting from. So I want to thank Ed, I want to thank his team, I want to thank our partners in the town, soon to be city of Framingham, and I want to pledge that we will continue to work with you, because what you are doing in terms of transit-oriented development and building housing and revitalizing the downtown and promoting the use of transit is exactly what we in the Baker-Polito administration are about. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. So the Secretary mentioned the partnerships, and I would like to underscore that our partnership with the town of Framingham went beyond the boundaries of this lot. Actually, it was the town of Framingham whose contractors built this lot. So we worked on a daily basis with Peter Sellers and his group and Danny Now, and created something that fit with the town, that worked with the town. So kudos to them for that. And the second partner that we had that really made a big difference was our relationship with Keolis. And today we have David Scory, who's the general manager of Keolis, with us. There's a lot of little intricacies that go on when you're trying to construct around rail. I mean, it's sometimes maddening, the hoops you have to jump through to get something what you perceive as something very simple done. So I was able to pick up the phone and go right to David if I had a problem, and it got solved. So without further ado, David Scory.
Thank you. Actually, last October, one of my first duties as the then new GM was to come to the groundbreaking ceremony on an absolutely gorgeous day then too. And in the 10 months since then, such a lot has been delivered on the Framingham-Worcester line. So many projects, so many upgrades, so many passenger improvements, state of good repair works have been done. And it's all for the benefit of passengers, of course. But I have to say, I think that this project here is really the icing on the cake. I'm so pleased to be able to be here today at this ribbon cutting ceremony to see what's been delivered and to congratulate Ed and the team on the great work that they've done. You know, there's no doubt that this station, this parking lot, provides a great environment, a centerpiece for the town, something that can be the heart of the community and really link people with commuter rail. One of our main priorities is to grow ridership on commuter rail, to make it more accessible, and by having facilities such as this, that really makes that priority a reality. And we are starting to see an uptick in ridership as a result of this parking lot. Ed was telling me that day by day almost, the lot is getting fuller, and that means more people are using the transit network, which is a fantastic success story. So as others I'm sure I want to say a special word of thanks to Ed. I think he's shown great commitment and resilience to actually get the project off the ground, working in partnership, working in collaboration. And then through the construction phases, we've had lots of interactions, and I think he's shown tremendous leadership in leading the various parties who are involved in making this a reality through some of the difficulties and delivering this fantastic upgrade, this fantastic environment. So we're very pleased to have played a small part in making this happen. I'm delighted to be here today, and thanks to all of the partners who made this a reality. Thank you.
So it is my great honor to introduce our Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and former select person from Shrewsbury, a Metro West town, Karen Polito.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here to celebrate this milestone on the Worcester-Framingham line. I'm very pleased to be with our partners and stakeholders in this endeavor. Obviously, we have our Secretary, Stephanie Pollock, who's doing a terrific job, in my opinion. I hope you feel that same way. Our interim GM, Steve Povtak, Ed Carr, thank you so much. And my partners in the legislature, who we have enormous respect for. You are fortunate to have great advocates in both Senator Karen Spilka, and it's great to see Representative Walsh here today, smiling and looking as handsome as ever. I also want to thank the Metro West RTA. The RTAs are so integral to helping our Commonwealth move people around in a safe and efficient manner. You are clearly strong and strategic partners to us throughout the Commonwealth. Many of you know, as your Lieutenant Governor, I spend a lot of time on the road traveling to the regions of our Commonwealth and working hard with our municipalities and our regional partners to strengthen our communities and the ability for people to have a good quality of life, meaning they can access their jobs, they can get their kids to school, they can have the ability to move around and appreciate all the recreational and cultural activities that exist here in our great Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So today is an opportunity to highlight and spotlight that partnership and why this kind of transportation, this kind of parking facility, the intermodal features that will be added to the north side parking area are so critical to this region of our Commonwealth. I also want to give a strategic shout out to Keolis, because we've been working very hard over the past couple of years now to strengthen the Worcester-Framingham line for the riders here, and have made a number of improvements that have increased on-time performance, meaning people can rely on getting to the place that they are heading to in the time period that is stated. That's because we have improved the rail ties, over 50,000 rail ties, to reduce those heat-related speed restrictions. Obviously, the heart-to-hub service is a feature in the Worcester area that can get those commuters into Boston in less than an hour. That's transformational. That's economic development for the city of Worcester. Certainly the Boston Landing commuter rail station that we highlighted recently, also a tremendous opportunity for that part of the line and in Boston. So I want to thank all the commuters who have sort of struggled through all of this construction, all of these improvement upgrades, because now you're going to see the benefit of all of that being done. Particularly want to thank any of the members of the Worcester-Framingham Working Group that have attended many internal meetings with us to give us guidance and feedback, and have created a blog to be able to communicate with other riders to really understand what's happening, and to be able to, use your smart device and really anticipate what's coming ahead is really improving overall the experience that people are having here in this area of our Commonwealth, and certainly others. But what I love about the intermodal aspect of this is you're using all of these amenities. You can get here by bike. Have accessible features with improved sidewalks for those who can walk here. Certainly signage and advertising, the solar trash and the receptacles, lighting, all of these details are so critically important for people to feel safe, to feel welcome, to be able to use these parking areas in a way that will service their needs the most. So today is a great day for all of us. It's wonderful that we can come together and spotlight and highlight something that's so tangible, so real, and so positive. And thank you all for your patience in working through the details of construction. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you again to the RTA, our great partners there, and to this whole team for their hard work and making this day become a reality. It's an honor to be with you.
So the Lieutenant Governor is really crunched for time today. We're going to do the photo shoot and the ribbon cut, and then we're going to come back and finish up with our speakers.
1, 2, 3. Give up your vow. Give up your vow. Save our city.
Okay, so just to continue with what we were doing here, our next speaker represents the MBTA, the interim general manager for the MBTA, and again, as a partner, the MBTA was great, helping us with little things that we needed to bridge. And honestly, a rail project is not easy. As you can see on the Commonwealth Bridge, I mean, there's a good example right there. So Steve Poftek has been, he succeeded Brian Shortsleeve in the role at the MBTA, and it was just announced yesterday that his successor has been lined up and is ready to go. So for Steve, I thought that I would do him a big favor and give him my recipe for Cuban sandwiches.
That's very great. Thank you. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's a real pleasure to be here. I know when they told me about this event, I said, wait a second, wasn't the groundbreaking just a few months ago? So it's a real pleasure to be here at an event where, you know, we've taken it from start to finish. You know, one of our priorities as we rebuild the MBTA is to improve the customer experience. And part of that is thinking about how the customers experience their commute from end to end. And then the station parking lots are really an important part of that system for our commuter rail customers. It's how they begin and end the journey, and we want it to be safe and we want it to be pleasant. And you know, one of the things I've learned in my experience with the MBTA is the MBTA can't do it alone. We need great partners, and we've had great partners here with the town of Framingham, the Metro West RTA, and also our partners at Keolis. And it's been really gratifying to see this project go from start to finish and to be able to provide what I think is a much higher level of service to our customers, and also to be a much better neighbor to our stakeholders who may not take the service but live in and around the station. So this is a great improvement for the MBTA. It's great to work with a team like this. I really want to thank Ed Carr, not only for his leadership on the project, but also for this recipe, which I will, on September 12th, when I step down, I will make myself a Cuban sandwich that afternoon. So I want to thank Ed. I want to thank the entire team at the Metro West RTA for partnering with us and helping us create just a much better experience for our customers and a much better experience for our neighbors here at the station. So thank you.
You've heard me say it 100 times. If it weren't for the chutzpah of Karen Spilka, we wouldn't be in RTA. So, Senator Spilka.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed. And if it wasn't for the chutzpah of Ed Carr, we wouldn't be here today either. For him, along with Secretary Pollock. You know, where do you start? And this won't be long. That's not an introduction for this speech to be long. But it really makes me proud to represent this area, to know that the Metro West RTA, the town/city of Framingham, the state, the Secretary of Transportation, the commuter rail, the police force here, the Board of Selectmen. So many people have worked together to make this a reality and to do it so well. This is what truly the power of partnerships means in my mind. And it is a force multiplier. It makes it so that 1 + 1 actually ends up being more than 2. So I just want to take a moment to thank especially Ed Carr and the RTA staff who have such a can-do spirit and enterprise to make things happen. I'm not surprised that this is the model. This is the first one to do it and to do it so well. I also want to give a special shout out to Secretary Pollock, who's another person that when when I think of Secretary and Ed, these are people that not necessarily think out of the box. They tear down the box and just go at it. So I want to thank them both, and I look forward to seeing what an amazing thing. People will think this is just a parking lot, just a T station, but this is a quality of life. This is a transit-oriented development. This is a public safety issue. This is so much here. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy the glorious weather.
Thank you, Senator. I used to have a puppy that tore his way out of the box all the time, too. Without further ado, our senior representative from the town of Framingham, Chris Walsh.
You survive long enough, you become senior. It's just it's just that easy. A couple things. One, a lot of you know that I'm an architect by trade, and I tell you, there's nothing better for an architect to have stood in a lot and watched people wave their hands about a vision of what could be, and to come to a project and see that reality. It's so rare. It's unbelievable. And architects who are in that business of seeing it just are blown away when it actually happens. And in amongst the way, there's so many problems, so many issues. Ed actually called on me as an architect to talk about the code of the staircases over there. So it's just one of those things. My father, who's a retired Navy admiral, used to tell me, this is sort of a little bit to the side, that the first thing that anybody should do when there's a conflict or a war is replace all the commanding officers with people who are hungrier and want to get things done. Well, Ed Carr is that ex-military man who basically looks at an issue and doesn't worry about what the book says, what this says, but just wants to get it done. And will move mountains to get it done, will work with anybody to get it done, he'll even work with me to get it done. And I am just always amazed and flabbergasted at what Ed will do to make sure that a project like this becomes a reality. And in amongst that, there's just so many people, from Karen Spilka, from the governor and the lieutenant governor, from Keolis. Everybody said that these are complicated things, and I'm just, as an architect and a legislator, I am just amazed that we can actually pull this all together and get it done under the leadership of Ed here. And so I have a citation here from the House. You guys have seen citations. I just want to say that it's signed by Carmen Gentile, Jack Lewis, and myself, and it basically is just a recognition of how transformational this kind of project is for a community like Framingham. And so again, kudos to everybody involved, and whatever we can do in the House and the Senate and the legislature to keep this going. Some of us have an idea that this is the first project of many in this area that will transform Framingham well into the future, and I look forward to many more projects like this. So thank you very much. Ed? Chris, you got another one for your wall. I got another one for your wall.
So, thank you, Chris. So the real story here, believe it or not, is the last story. When we started this project, it was all about the partnership with the MBTA, MassDOT, Keolis, MWRTA, and we were going to create a parking lot, and we're going to take the money from the revenues and we're going to put it back into the facility, which is phase 2 that has already begun. You know, the stairs were, I don't know why they were allowed to be in the condition they were in, but they were. The elevators, they stunk. It was awful. So that was the original story. But what came out of the story just really floored me. And here it is. A year later, if you stand here, I don't know if I get this right, Chief, but I'll lay it out. If you stand within 500 yards of where we are right now, was the highest crime rate in Framingham. You know, not murders or larceny or anything. It was, you know, little things, but there were a lot of them. A lot of crime was taking place down here. In a year, the last year since we've been working down here and trying to gussy it up, make the parking, and personally, the RTA lost 20,000 riders the first year. Ridership right down, gone, because we moved our hub in here. That's how bad it was in here. Now, the crime rate has plummeted by 75%. That's the real story here. And why did that happen? Because it's the broken window theory, you know, which is a metaphor. The broken window is a metaphor, but if you take care of your property, clean it up, maintain it, keep your eye on it, the knuckleheads will go away. They're just because they don't want to get caught. So the other partnership that we had here, and one of the most important partnerships, was with the Framingham Police Department. We have a retired police officer that works with us, that guides us, but we have the Framingham Police Department right here when we need them every second. So I've asked Chief Ferguson to say a few words.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank Mike Donnelly. As Ed Carr said, Mike's a retired police officer, and he was my training officer 30 plus years ago when I first came on the police department. Probably doesn't want everybody to know that, but I learned from him then, and I'm learning now, and I can't thank him enough. Really, I'm here to thank Ed Carr and his team, all the people involved in this. Like Ed said, others have said, I can echo that the quality of life here was a challenge for us, to say the least. And often you work in communities when you deal with these issues, they're called police issues, you know, public safety issues. But here in Framingham, they're identified as community issues, which I think is great, you know. And because of collaborations like this, not just throwing public safety resources at an issue and attacking the symptom, we're able to collaborate and change the way things are done on a much larger level to identify the root cause. And as Ed said, it makes a huge impact. So when you talk about crime and corruption and quality of life issues being reduced in Framingham, I'd like to tell you it's just the police, but it's not. It's a huge partnership, internally, externally, private, and public. And again, I'd just love to thank Ed Carr and his team for all the great work they've done. Thank you.
So Ed Carr gets way more credit than he deserves, believe me, because any dope, given the resources, could do this. It's and if I were the mayor in 4.5 months, which is not even a chance of that, and I look back on today, I would declare it Stephanie Pollock Day in Framingham, the city of Framingham. Thank you so much, Secretary. And that's it. You know,